Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Barker, founder of Connect Our Elders. And today I have David Chong, the founder and CEO of Coast Care Partners, with me. We go way back, and I'm really, really excited to be talking to him today. David, would you mind sharing what is your background?
Yeah, and we do go way back, and just if I can, I'll do like the political answer of answering my own, what I want to answer first. But just that I appreciate being here, and Sarah, you're one of the things I enjoy about being in this industry is people we work with long term, and it's bad if I say you're one of my oldest, colleagues and friends, because but yes, I think it's 10 plus years. But you started up, so thank you for having me. And you asked about what my background is. So yeah, the short is I was, I'm kind of, you've heard of the recovering attorney. So there was a brief less than a year where I practiced law a long time ago, but about 1997, so 24 years ago, I got into senior care. And so I've, like dabbled in law, a little real estate here and there, but the bulk of my career has been doing senior care.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And so senior care, before you got into non-medical home care, which is what Coast Care Partners is, what were you doing prior to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't get to tell that story often. The first house I ever bought was in 1997. It was a few blocks away here in Mount Helix. And I bought a little house, and I moved into one side with my wife, Becky, at the time. And then on the other side of the house, we had 6 patients with Alzheimer's. So before home care, I did little boarding care facilities. And the very first one, we lived on one side of the house. My first daughter was born there in the house, and did a lot of the, I did the hands-on care. I drove people to doctors. I cooked meals poorly, fixed toilets poorly, but I kind of, did the whole thing. And so I did boarding cares for a few years and then sold those little properties. So that was my entryway into senior care.
Okay. I don't think that I've ever actually asked you this question before. So I think that most people can agree getting into anything senior care related these days is a good business opportunity, right? It's certainly not an easy business to be in with the home care side, but do you have a specific reason or why you decided to get into senior care?
Yeah. And I know we're trying to limit this to 10 minutes, but yeah, for my why, I could, go back to childhood and spend 30 minutes on my why, but I'll expedite it. My why goes back to, I looked back to in my teen years where I grew up in a very strongly religious background, really. And it was early on, kind of in that evangelical world of seeing that whole kind of social message of the gospel made a lot of sense to me. Like we should do stuff for other people. And I mean, whether it's Christianity or all religions, or I'm in Rotary now, the service above self. So I think early on I had this sense of, trying to do something and make a difference and that kind of a thing. And early on for me during my teen and in my 20s, a lot of it was like creating economic opportunities. So early in my career, I worked for Axio in San Diego, a little nonprofit, which created, business loans and whatnot. So it was really kind of creating economic opportunities that started my career early on. And then I got into senior care, and I learned that like, no matter how much resources you have as a senior, you've got some, often some physical or cognitive frailty, and turns out, their population, they use a lot of help as well. For a lot of the 9 years history of Coast Care Partners, there's a lot of, are we mostly about our caregivers or mostly about our clients? And we debated that kind of going back and forth for years. And then more recently, we kind of brought some clarity, which has been kind of fun for me. And the clarity's been, our why, like, why are we doing? What we're here for is we're here to grow caregivers. Like we want to grow caregivers, whether they're new in their career or advance them along. And we know that by doing that is how we best support our clients, because they're our front line. Our clients see 99.9% of our caregivers, and 0.1% of those of us who, try to do the back office stuff. So our why is that, like creating career opportunities and economic and, professional and, kind of growth for our staff.
That gave me goosebumps, because
the
overall theme, right, of who you are, what you've done, and what you're doing now with Coast Care Partners is the overall theme is service above self, right? Giving back. And then also this, clarity about investing in the caregivers, right? Growing the caregivers, because that is going to translate into high quality service for the clients, Okay. So Coast Care Partners, when we met, Coast Care Partners did not yet exist. So what drove you to establish Coast Care Partners, and what makes Coast Care Partners different?
Yeah, I think, great. Let me answer both. When I sold those care facilities, back in 2005, I spent a couple of years of like, what do I want to do next, and yada yada. And I worked for my house a lot of years with those boarding cares, and which was good. I had a young family, but one of the main things I wanted to do was work with a team of people that I could collaborate with, that were peers and who were bright and competent and passionate and had their own why, and where it all aligned. And so, when you ask kind of what makes us different, if you look on the homepage of our website and, hopefully all of our materials, if they're done right, we talk about what does make us different. And at the top of that list is our unmatched expertise. That's what we call it. So it's, what makes us different is we have we've collaborated, Sarah and the work we've done together, and our care managers are on the team. So we've got a team here that kind of knows what we're doing. I know we've got 180 some competitors here in town, and everybody has their own little niches. But actually, I love talking recent stories. I walked in the office this morning and I told somebody in our recruitment department, I said, hey, for years, I've always my goal has been to hire people that are smarter than me and do stuff better. And I said that this morning because Jake is doing our IT and I know he'd do it better. And so whether it's, Jake in our recruitment department or, Sarah, personally, our care managers and the nurses and social work, Amy, and their, how much respect and how awesome they are at their jobs. And, Tyler in operations in terms of her experience throughout the home care, and several of us who were licensed RCP administrators. So there's just a range of expertise we all bring to the team. Let me cut the other three differentiators real quick. So is our unmatched expertise something we do differently? We're truly local, so we're not a franchise. It's a San Diego based company through and through. We're very responsive, and you call us on a Friday and we get what you need on a Friday. And then a really big one is our attendance promise, which we've had for years, which that's the reliability we provide to our clients. If you're scheduled for a shift, then hell or high water, we will have a qualified caregiver at that shift, no matter what.
And as far as I know, still, you guys are the only ones with an attendance promise.
I think so. I've seen other people come up with little, things like that. But yeah, it's interesting. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago or more when we started that. And we felt like when we're debating whether or not to do it, it was kind of this, it's who we are anyways. Like if we're, especially the round the clock clients, like, of course we're not going to leave. We will, move mountains to not leave an around the clock client by themselves. And we realize that kind of stretches to all of our clients. And I will add, because we started measuring it 2 or 3 years ago, and we meet our attendance promise 99.97% of the time. It used to be 99.95, and then we yada yada. So anyways, we measure it, and turns out that we show up when we're scheduled to show up.
And I would say something that I don't think that it's listed on the website or anything, but this is a huge difference that I see, is just the amount of caregivers that you guys have. Your pool of caregivers available is quite large in the community.
Yeah, sometimes it's private information around town, so you don't exactly know. But I think we've come to be, if not the biggest, in the top handful or something in terms of caregivers. And actually, that was a vision from day one of trying to build a lot of capacity here in San Diego, knowing that when you've got a call off for a shift and you've got 20 caregivers, it's a lot more likely that you're going to go cover that shift yourself. If you only got a handful. We just knew that with more caregivers, it would give us more, kind of bandwidth or more capacity to serve our clients. And so now when we have, caregivers, my child's sick today, I can't come to work. It's not like we have to force them to go to work or, panic ourselves. Like we've got the people and systems that, we can cover when when life comes up. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing who you are, David, why Coast Care Partners was established, and sort of the driving mission and values behind Coast Care Partners.
That was all enjoyable. Thank you for that few minutes, Sarah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.